Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we're going to work on some centerpieces for a dinner party. We're starting out with just a cube vase, and I have 3 of those here. We actually have 12 total centerpieces, and so I thought I would make 3 for you and kind of show you how we do that with kind of an assembly line. We find that it's easier if you will set all your vases out and go ahead and do the same types of flowers in each of those vases. It just makes things go so smooth and so easy. I'm starting out with a white hydrangea. Using my floral knife, I'm cutting that hydrangea at an angle, and I'm dipping it in Quick Dip. Now, Quick Dip is a hydrating solution that helps to keep that white hydrangea hydrated. I'm removing any foliage that are on that bloom, cut it at an angle, and dip it. And you're going to count to about 7. Now, if you do not have Quick Dip at home, that's completely okay. You can actually buy something called alum. Alum is going to be in the pickling section of your local market, grocery store, whatever you have. And alum usually comes in a powder form. If you will dip that flower in the water first and then right into that powder, what it's going to do is it's going to cause the powder to stick to the end of that flower, and that will help to hydrate your hydrangeas. So I am just removing that plastic wrap around those hydrangeas. When we put our hydrangeas in the cooler, we leave the plastic wrap that they are shipped to us. We leave that on them because just in case they touch the side of the cooler or anything like that, that is going to help protect that bloom from getting too cold and getting damaged. All right. Okay, so we've got one more hydrangea bloom. Okay, so there are our hydrangeas. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next we're going to come in with our peonies. Peonies, I'm not sure how you say it. So we're going to take 2 of these peony blooms. I'm going to cut that stem at an angle, and I'm going to tuck him right down into that hydrangea. Now that hydrangea is just holding that bloom into place. I'm removing any of that foliage that's on that stem, cutting it at an angle, and tucking it right into that hydrangea. Now, the reason I like to use hydrangeas is for this exact reason. I like it because it's a good grid for flowers. It holds those flowers into place. Now, if you missed my video that I posted yesterday about peonies, go back and watch it. We actually did an arrangement of all peony blooms, which was magnificent. Peonies are actually, they came from Asia. They're most often grown in Japan and China and Malaysia. They are such beautiful blooms, and they come in different colors. This variety happens to be Miss America. It comes here in more of a blush tone, but then it turns out as it opens, it becomes pretty and white. Okay, so our peonies are in place. Next, we're going to come in with some white roses. Now, this variety of white rose is called Mandal. Now, Mandal is not quite as white as I would prefer for it to be, but it works. A Mandal rose is is a very large-headed rose, and it has lots of petals. So it opens up almost like a garden rose. It opens up just really pretty. So what you're going to do is, with that rose, if you will very carefully take your finger and just kind of run it throughout those petals and slightly open that rose, you'll find that it's going to open up almost like a garden rose. They have a pretty fragrance. And if on the outside, if you see any petals that are bumped or bruised, go ahead and take those off. For some reason, a white rose tends to show any bumps or bruises easier than other roses. So I'm just using my floral knife and I'm cutting that stem at an angle, and I'm just tucking it right into my hydrangea, using that hydrangea as a grid. And you can see how I am taking each flower and individually adding it into my arrangement. So my hydrangeas went first on all 3 arrangements. Next went my peonies. Next the roses. It's just really, it makes it so easy if you'll kind of go in an assembly line. Okay, next we're going to come in with some white stock. So I have pretty white stock. Each of these arrangements will get 3 stems of stock. I'm stripping down that foliage, cutting that stem at an angle, and I am also using my quick dip to hydrate the stock. Now the reason is, stock is kind of like a hydrangea. It gets a little wilty, and so I don't always dip it in my quick dip, but when it's warm outside, it's really smart to go ahead and dip it. All right, so there is my stock. Next, we're going to come in with some spray roses. So I have some pretty white spray roses. It's really soft white. So I'm just going to take that stem, cut it at an angle, and I'm just tucking that bloom right down into my arrangement. And for each arrangement, I have 2 stems of spray roses. And I'm removing the foliage. Now, you do not have to remove the foliage. Really, you want to remove the foliage if it's going to fall below the water line. With these arrangements, she wanted very little foliage, so that's the reason I'm removing that pretty foliage. But you can absolutely leave it on if it's pretty. And then it helps to fill up your arrangement. But with these arrangements, she did not want any foliage, so that's the reason we're going ahead and removing that. All right, so there's our spray roses. Next, we're going to come in with carnations, but I want to show you a trick that we're going to do with these carnations. Now, these are fairly high-end looking arrangements. And carnations tend to be a very budget-friendly flower. I had really wanted Lysianthus, but I could not get my hands on all white Lysianthus. So let me show you how we're going to make a Lysianthus bloom out of a carnation. So what you're going to do is you're going to pinch the blooms right there, the little petals right there in the center, and you're going to pull them out of that center. And you'll see right there, you're just going to pull them out of that center, and you see how it kind of gives us that little opening. Well, that's exactly what a Lysianthus bloom looks like. So I am just going to use 3 stems of carnations, making them a little Lysianthus bloom. Now, I will tell you, and you've heard me say, my favorite part about the Lysianthus is the buds. But this works beautifully to make us an extra white bloom. So with each bloom, I am going to continue just pulling those little center petals right out. And it is not hurting this bloom at all. Taking my floral knife, cutting that, if you use the right side, cutting that stem at an angle and tucking him right in to that arrangement. And you see how it just kind of gives me a little hollow place in the center? And that's exactly what Lisianthus looks like. So I'm just taking that carnation. If you'll take your carnation and hold it very carefully between your fingers here, you can fluff a carnation. Then what I'm doing is taking those center petals and pulling those right out of that bloom. And just tucking that in. Fluff, fluff, fluff. And pull those petals right out of that center. You see how it looks like a Lizzie? All right, so I'm going to put my last Lizzie carnation into my arrangement, and then to finish these off, I am going to add a little bit of wax flower. So I have some beautiful wax as my filler flower. Now look, this is one stem of wax flower. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to take it, break it up, and tuck it right down in to my container, and I'm just tucking it all the way around in that arrangement. Honestly, it doesn't need very much. Because I have a little left, I'm going to tuck it in my next arrangement. But these are amazing centerpieces. I am so excited to see how pretty they're going to be. At this dinner party. The wonderful part about wax is you can do exactly this. You can spread it out throughout all of the arrangements, and it doesn't take tons to really spruce up an arrangement. All right, there are our 3 centerpieces for our dinner party. Guys, thank you so very much for being here with us this afternoon. If you have any questions about how we do things here at our flower shop, please don't hesitate to ask that down in the comments below. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, please do that. We would love to have you subscribe to our channel. Hit that little bell down below, and it's going to give you notifications for when we put up a new video. Guys, you have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you real soon.